and what have you learned from that experience?
Yeah, I really seriously I had after the state championship game, when you feel like you've let a lot of people down, and in fact I think the entire team did. The reason why is because you worked so hard the entire year. You beat every team basically in Northwest Louisiana or faced off with them. And you felt like the goal, when you go undefeated in regular season and you go undefeated in the playoffs, the goal is to cap it off with a state championship. So like I said, after that game, Arcadiana was obviously the better team, and you played like champions on the field. So they were more prepared than we were.
How tough was it going back into that locker room after the game and seeing those guys wearing the black and red for the last time?
Well, I didn't even get an opportunity to go in the locker room and see him after the game. I had to get stitches in my hand, which required 21 stitches in my finger because it kind of ripped off during the game. So I never got an opportunity to see him at the game. And then after the press conference, they were all pretty much packed and they were out, and I had to have, I guess you can call it surgery or stitched up at the numb after the game for me to do that. So I didn't get an opportunity to see him.
Left ring finger. What happened?
I was running the ball, I would say, I think it was the second or third quarter. I was running the ball up the middle. It was a design run, and before I got there, next thing I know, I guess I want to say the D tackle came through, and I tried to brace him. The buckle cut it all the way deep to the ligament.
You stayed in the game. Did it affect you? I know the first play you came back in, I was sitting up high watching, because I was down low watching it first, and then I was up high. And it looked like that the way that you handled the ball from the snap was different than what you had done previously.
Yeah, well, regardless of what anybody says, anytime you get one of your hand affected, I don't care if it's your non-throwing hand or even if your throwing hand, you're going to be somewhat affected because you're not, especially mine was taped heavily. The bleeding was, it was ridiculous. So it was taped so heavily. So I had to find a way to get through it. There's no way I'm coming out of a state championship game like that. And of course, we already had an adjustment to the footballs that we were throwing because they were basically like I don't know what to even compare them to. I don't even think that's a real football. So we had to use those. So that was an adjustment too. So all that was adjustment, because you're already dealing with your the ball's been messed up, and then you get a finger injury like that, and you're already having trouble gripping a ball that had no grip whatsoever. And, that adds to the pain.
Before we go into the LSU stuff, because this is interesting to me, guys, because I don't know if people are aware of it. LHSAA signs a contract with a certain ball manufacturer, and I know your head coach was not happy with the ball manufacturer because he said, why do I have to play with these balls? I've talked to the guy who supplies the balls, and he said all the coaches just kind of go along with it. He goes, but Coach Feaster even said, he goes, why do I have to play with these balls? Why can't we play with just regulation footballs? How much does that affect the quarterback when you know that? What do you play with in college? Is it a Wilson or a Nike or?
Well, good thing I play with a Nike ball at LSU.
Okay, is that an SEC deal or is that an NCAA?
No. It's basically off of a deal where you signed LSU's on a contract with Nike, so Nike provide them footballs, and those balls for me are the best footballs.
And they're the ones you get to use in the game as well.
At LSU, yes.
What about on the road? Do you still get to use the Nike?
If you're a sponsor of Nike, I'm pretty sure you use their footballs. Because I know Auburn uses basically a GST. So in GST, for me, they rip the tip of my finger. So
if you play at Auburn, you don't have to use their balls.
No, you bring your own balls. You
right.
bring your own footballs.
So you get to play with a Nike ball. And guys, if you haven't ever felt in, I don't even know how you pronounce it, Biden?
Yes, sir.
If you have ever picked up a football and you pick up an old Wilson Duke like they used to have in the days back when I was playing football, and the Nike balls, there's some pebble to it.
Yeah.
And there's some grip to it. And it's like a good basketball as opposed to a slick basketball.
Yeah.
Does it play with your mind more than it does physically, or does the physical nature of throwing the ball become harder than the mental aspect?
I don't think me throwing a football, I don't have any problem throwing any football. The deal is, when you don't get an opportunity to practice with that ball and break it in, and we were going through some extreme weather conditions up here, prior to that game. So Monday, Tuesday, basically Wednesday as well, we never got an opportunity to get outside and rip it. So we're in the gym, even though I know we're playing in the dome, we're in the gym. those balls never get an opportunity to break in. So we're doing everything. We had Billy Joe Tolliver, who's a friend of our defensive coordinator, come over there, and we do an old deal where we throw the balls in the dryer, and it's a deal that they did back in college or when he was at whatever high school he was at. So we're trying everything to get this grip on the ball, and we get in the game, and a key series. I throw a ball into the turf because the ball slips out of my hand.
Yeah, I remember.
And it's just because they have no grip whatsoever. And I don't think it's a way you can get grip on them. And I'm pretty sure any quarterback you talk to, every quarterback that I've talked to, they hate those footballs.
Brandon Harris joining us in studio. One more question about high school before we head to the final hour of Power. When we talked to Elena Beard, one of my favorite athletes that ever came through Shreveport-Bossier, WNBA star, played at Duke and played at Southwood under Steve McDowell. She credits Steve for instilling in her basically all the principles of basketball and being able to use that at the next level. How much credit does David Feaster and the Parkway coaching staff deserve for helping you get to where you were, or was it coaches prior to that in Biddy Ball or whatever that helped you get to this level?
Yeah, I think everybody deserves a ton of credit. I don't even want to, you can't even give it all just to the football coaches. You have to give it to the community as well, because they stood behind us 100% for one, supporting us. They were on the road with us the entire playoffs, traveling with us, doing this, making sure we had everything we needed, coming to visit us in the French Quarter and all these different things. And now we're going to talk on the football aspect. Coach Fisher taught me a heck of a lot, as well as our offensive coordinator, Coach Scoggin, who helped Coach Fisher out, and coaches along the way. You take bits and pieces from everybody. I took bits and pieces from Kobe Copeland's game and quarterbacks that were there before me, and you just learn and you just take that with you, and every step of the way. I'm pretty sure you hear Peyton Manning talk about it all the time about Tom Brady, and I'm pretty sure he takes talent away from him, or takes something away from, not talent away from him, but things away from his game, try to add it to his to make him a better quarterback. But for one thing I learned from Coach Feaster and the entire coaching staff, and this is one key attribute, is not to show that you're rattled. Have fun. Don't put so much pressure on yourself just because of the place you're in, where your teammates see it or somebody else sees it, because you want everything to go perfect. Everything's not going to always go perfect. And you look at the national championship game Monday night, everything didn't go perfect. Jameis Winston, but he let his team down and scored a touchdown. So it's all about how you carry yourself.
Did you guys get ticked off at the LHSA for having to be on the road 5 times? I mean, I know you're not supposed to let it rattle you, but was it?
Yeah, I think so. I think something in the near future needs to be done about how rulings come down rather than reading off a book. I don't agree with that at all, because it just doesn't make sense to me. You punish and hurt a lot of people. If you probably did the sum of what's the average that parents have to spend traveling on the road, is probably outrageous. But you can't, like I said, they're in control of that. Like I said, something needs to be done about it. It only takes one person to come out and speak on that and have a voice and continue to speak on it for that to get changed. But it's something that definitely needs to be changed in the near future.
Well, and to me, it bothered me to no end, Brandon, that this was going on 2 weeks before Christmas.
Yeah.
And that there were some families who had to cut back on Christmas to go watch their kid play football. And that's wrong.
That's honest truth, because, and honestly, we had a lot of, and I'm not only speak for myself, but my teammates as well. You have a lot of parents that are single parents, and what my dad has in his pocket, because he probably has a better job than the next man. That hurts another kid. And
right.
This kid probably wanted this. Probably was. Parents told him in the beginning, way before this ruling even came out, this Christmas I'll buy you a car.
Right.
Unfortunately, we can't buy you a car because we had to travel. I had to come watch you play, or this and that. And one thing you don't want to ever do as a kid is look up in the stands and not see your dad or your mom or your grandma or your brother or your sister not being able to come to the game. And when you get down south and you're in the playoff games, the tickets are $10 or $13 a piece.
Yep.
Yeah, they rack up.
And then hotels.
Oh yeah.
And then gas.
Oh yeah, that's not even a joke.
And see, that's something to me that I'm with you. It needs to be addressed by the LHSA, because the person that they were trying to punish wasn't punished.
Well, and another thing too is anytime you finish the number, what do we finish? The number 2 seed or number 3 seed?
Yeah.
I think And for me personally, I think if you finish the number 1, number 2 seed, then you start doing like the NFL where you have home field to play it. You could play at home throughout. I think that's just the thing they should do. I don't think if you finish where you go undefeated in the regular season, you shouldn't have to travel.
I completely agree. Brandon Harris joining us now. We're going to move into the next phase of